Yay, we are live podcasting, and I feel like we were a little confused as to where to proceed from here, I think, but I may be mistaking it for...
We think there's more to it than the cat.
Definitely. Yes, I remember that. I remember, even though everything seemed like it made sense,
there's some liaring going on.
Yeah, lots of liaring. A number of buttons around the vessel to allow the crewman to raise the alarm. The sort of button one is almost compelled to press to satisfy one's curiosity. Wait, it was you? When the button is pressed, two things happen in the interest of safety. The emergency alarm bell rings, and the vessel comes to a complete stop. As indeed it did a little earlier today. Mr. Sholmes, surely it wasn't you who... As I always say, a button has but one purpose in life. To be pressed, whatever the occasion. He sounds almost proud of himself. How dare you mess with ship? I report you to Captain, you are in much trouble now. Now, I'm sure all that can wait until later. Let's not overlook the fact that we have now learned a valuable lesson. When the vessel makes an emergency stop, the bolts on the cabin door slide closed. So, what we must now consider... Yes, it all comes down to one thing now. Last night, after what happened to Mr. Asogi, did this ship make an emergency stop or did it not? You are idiots. Bury a huge ship with many passengers. If we make an emergency stop even in the middle of the night, there would be chaos everywhere. What are your thoughts, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, it's certainly possible that some kind of emergency happened last night. We have evidence to support that idea. Really? What evidence, Mr. Naruhodo? Fascinating. Do show us, my good man. What evidence promotes the theory that some emergency gripped this vehicle last night? Do you think it's the skid marks, like he lost his balance?
I wonder if he was passed out too, like they're all poisoned because they all have throbbing headaches and he didn't record anything.
No, let's see.
I think it's either the skid mark or the lack of stuff being reported. Because maybe he couldn't report it because he was dealing with a problem.
But you'd think he'd...
Retroactively.
Yeah, because he just said there'd be chaos everywhere if it happened. He didn't say nothing happened, I was awake.
But maybe he wasn't awake. That's the problem.
But then who was writing nothing to report?
But then it stopped. He should have had nothing to report for every hour. Or half hour, whatever the increments are. And it abruptly stops.
I don't know if that's evidence, though. But, let's try.
You don't have to. You want to try the skid mark instead?
Let's try it.
Yes.
Seaman Stroganoff. It's your duty to patrol the first-class area of the ship, isn't that right? That is correct. Why? And the ship's log here, this would be where you record the details of your duties? What are you doing with that is mine? You rather carelessly left it atop the little makeshift bureau in the passageway out there. But as responsible passengers, we took it into our care with the mind to return it to you later. I left it there on purpose. That is where I put it always. The point is, looking at what you usually record, it's clear that under normal circumstances you write the phrase nothing to report every 30 minutes, but from 2 o'clock last night until first light this morning, nothing was recorded at all. Nothing recorded in the log? That is... because nothing happened. But if nothing happened, you would normally write nothing to report, wouldn't you? Indeed so, which tells us that shortly after 2 a.m., something happened here aboard the SS Bureau. Something sufficiently significant to make you forget to fill in the ship's log, in fact. Are you suggesting that the ship really did make an emergency stop in the middle of the night? Stop talking rubbish. Well, you were right, hon. I didn't think that was evidence. She winks. If I'm perfectly honest, I find that a little hard to believe myself. Oh, why? Well, because if something as major as an emergency stop really had happened, surely all of us would have noticed.
Okay, but think about it. The 15-year-old ballerina is on the ship, but she just went missing from Shanghai. And there's a newspaper on board. How did we get the newspaper if we weren't at port?
Which you've been asking just about the entire
Yes.
case.
So we stopped to get her. Probably. Ish. Or no, she would have already been dead. I don't know.
That's very true. Thanks to the emergency stop we experienced earlier, we all know what it feels like now. The ship lurched so violently and the alarm bell was so loud, I can't imagine that anybody would sleep through that, even if it happened in the dead of night. Well, no, that's a good point. What of the throbbing? Sorry, what do you mean? Your head, man. The throbbing of your head since this morning. We have all suffered with it. Ah. Oh yes, I have had a headache, you're right. In fact, I haven't been feeling myself since I woke up today. Nor have I. My head has been feeling heavy ever since dawn. Yes, you've all been afflicted, haven't you? Just as I suspected. He's right, my head's been throbbing today too. And since eating dinner yesterday evening, everything has felt sort of hazy. I can't really remember anything that happened after I climbed back into the wardrobe. Then the first thing I noticed this morning was the throbbing pain in my head. I had already been dragged out of the wardrobe and had those handcuffs put on me by that point. Why didn't I wake up when all that was happening to me? Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo.
We stopped to get somebody off.
You boarded this vessel as a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, well, yes, sorry. The stowaway class of accommodation doesn't usually include meals. What did you survive on? Ah, well, Cosimo looked after me. He was always happy to share his meals. So you enjoyed some of the whole roast chicken dish that was served yesterday evening, I take it? Yes, in fact, I had all of that. Cosimo wasn't fond of chicken. Oh, really? So the victim didn't eat any of the chicken at all? That's right, he didn't touch it. Is that relevant? My dear fellow, does that not strike you? Oh, Mr. Sholmes, do you mean to say that there was something wrong with the chicken? I do. No, really? Is that really true? The meal prepared for the passengers last night had been tampered with. Tampered with by the addition of a soporific designed to induce a very deep slumber in those who consumed it. A sleeping drug? Do you mean whoever did this laced every meal with a sleeping drug so no one would notice the ship's emergency stop? Mr. Naruhodo, of course that's not what Mr. Sholmes means. What a far-fetched idea. Precisely. Lacing every meal of every passenger on board with a soporific jug would certainly be impossible. Unless, that is, every single member of the crew was a conspirator. What? Mr. Sholmes? Well, Seaman? I'm sorry to say that any more deception in this matter will get you nowhere. If you refuse to talk, there would have to be an inquiry made through the shipping company, of course. And were that to happen, every member of the crew and the captain himself would be hauled over the coals for aiding and abetting a renegade. please, no more. I will tell you everything. I cannot make problems like this for everyone anymore. These crewmen are your former comrades, I believe? Yes, so when I decided to run away, I asked them to help me. We all agreed to help, everyone together. She threw away everything, her fame in the ballet, Mother Russia. We wanted to help our angel. I don't believe it. You are right. We put sleeping drug in chicken last night. Yes, I remember now. I did notice chewing on a lump of something strange and bitter at one point. Duh, we could not make all drug. How do you say dissolve? Ugh, talk about heavy seasoning. At midnight in waters near Shanghai, we brought our angel on board. She was helped by comrade on shore with small fishing boat. While all the passengers of the SS Boreas slept soundly, thanks to the almost magical effects of the slumber-inducing potion their evening meals had contained. So if that's what happened, the only people awake on the ship last night were the crew, people who disliked chicken, and
That's true.
the newly boarded passenger, Miss Pavlova. And that means it would have been possible for you. You could have used the emergency stop trick to lock Cosimo's cabin door. But how does that make sense? Surely every cabin door would have ended up locked in that case, and there would have been complete chaos. Oh, I wouldn't say so. What? Ah, of course. Just like us, all the other passengers would have eaten their evening meal of chicken in their cabins, after which they would have been overwhelmed by tiredness because of the sleeping drug. Quite. And accordingly, all passengers were already in their cabins for the night. Yes. The overwhelming majority of passengers would habitually sleep with their cabin doors bolted anyway, and so not one of them would have found it remarkable to find the door locked in the morning. In summary, in order to fasten the bolt of a single cabin door on the ship, the culprit brought the entire vessel to an emergency stop in the early hours of the morning. You have talked a long time and said many things. What is point? The point is what I said earlier. There was somebody else present on the scene when the victim lost his life last night. Someone who left a message in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate another. Someone who tried desperately to hide the broken fragments of glass that would reveal the culprit's identity. And someone who abused the ship's emergency stop procedure in order to lock a door. All told, a busy night. But, I don't know about any of this. I'm just a little girl. You like...
What's his name said? The guy from Trace Bien. Armstrong?
Oh, yeah!
I'm just a little girl.
Yeah, oh, wee. That guy. You like to speak with your long English words and explain your clever ideas. But I am Sailor, and sailors don't listen to long, boring stories. We don't believe. Sailors like me, we trust only what we see with our eyes. A laudable trait. What? I am quite of the same disposition, my good man. Observation to me is everything. Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, yes? Do you hear it? The accusatory cry of guilt on the wind? What accusatory cry of guilt? Sorry, you've lost me. Proof of involvement, man, but you can't hear such a call with your ears. No, you must hear it with your eyes, for observation is the basis of all deduction. What are you talking about? I believe the time has come. For one final logic and reasoning spectacular, to expose the truth. So, Mr. Naruhodo, your assistance, if you please. With what exactly, Mr. Sholmes? With observation, my dear fellow, just as I said, of these two prevaricators. Observation? If you remember, Mr. Naruhodo, we know that somebody tried to fabricate evidence, don't we? By tampering with the scene of Mr. Asogi's death. What we're looking for is some trace of evidence that one of these two was there when it happened. Precisely, you are delightfully quick to grasp my meaning. Alright, I'll see what I can see. So we're looking for a trace of evidence that shows someone else was there last night when Kazuma died.
Oh, the ink?
Oh, look at this. It's some kind of stain in an unusual place. Yes, you're right. It looks like ink, if I'm not mistaken. Ink. And look at that color, too. It's clear where this came from. Okay.
Yes! Yes!
Simon Stroganoff, you seem to have quite a large purple stain on the back of your white uniform there. Eh? Ah, yes, I don't know where the dirt comes from. So nothing particular comes to mind about the stain? What are you trying to say? It would appear that the significance of this stain has escaped your attention, Seaman. Allow us to make it plain. It's very stain in the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform, and I think when made it is clear. Indeed it is. So, Mr. Naruhodo, present the evidence that proves it. My pleasure. Alright then, the evidence that proves that stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform really is...
He wrote with his hand.
Yes! Yes!
Yes, it's this photograph and the ink it shows. That's what caused the stain on your uniform. Ink? A rather unusual color of ink, purple. Ah, the penny drops at last. Now you see the significance. The Russian word on the floor next to the victim's body was written in purple ink. And the stain on the back of your uniform is ink of exactly the same color. The ink had been dried, couldn't have possibly stained your uniform in that way, which means you must have been present in the cabin in the moments immediately after the ink was spilled. Alright, yes, it was me. I did it. Everything. I arranged everything in Dead Student's cabin to make it look like Wardrobe Man did it. Wardrobe Man? Then I pressed button to make Beria do emergency stop and bolt cabin doors shut. I did everything so no one would suspect our angel. Biff, please. Don't worry, Angel. Let me do talking. It's after 1 in the morning. I was on duty patrolling passageway. Then our angel came to me. She was white like sheet. Please, you must help me. I went with her. The door to cabin number 1 was open. When I looked inside, I saw a student boy on floor. Well, what happened here? Please don't tell anyone. My little one, my little furry friend. Everything that happened in cabin is like Angel told you. The kitten escaped through the ventilator into Mr. Osogi's cabin, then he tripped over it and broke his neck when he fell to the floor? Yes, that is right. So after the incident when the cat ran away, Miss Pavlova then visited the cabin next to hers, only to find its occupant lying lifeless on the floor. She said she was worried when she heard sound of something falling on the floor. That's when she went to look. No, Angel? The door was not locked, so she opened to look, and you already know what happened after. There's just one thing, if you wouldn't mind. What? When you went to Mr. Osogi's cabin, Miss Pavlova, was he already dead? Why, I already told you. When Nina opened the door of student's cabin and looked inside, I was asking Miss Pavlova. Oh, dang. Well, Miss Pavlova? Yeah. Oh. Yes, that is right. I saw him. It was dark, and he was wearing black, but he was on the floor, not moving. I was scared. I understand, and I believe you. So, is that finally it now? Have we discovered the real truth about Kazuma's death at last? Ah, something very nearly slipped my mind. Oh, Mr. Sholmes. This photograph. Yes, I took this myself, you know. The cause of death was a broken neck, therefore the victim died instantly. And the unfortunate incident that precipitated these events, a kitten on which the victim stumbled. However, if those are the facts, there is one particular area in this photograph that seems to be somewhat unnatural. What do you mean unnatural? What are your thoughts on the matter, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, well... If Kazuma tripped and fell, and by some terrible stroke of bad luck broke his neck, which part of this photograph print seems unnatural? Well, didn't we already establish that he's the one who wrote Wardrobe?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Because that wouldn't be a new development.
He couldn't have turned his head to the side? I don't understand what they're looking for.
I don't either. So... Kazuma tripped and fell, and by some terrible stroke of bad luck broke his neck. Which part of this photographic print seems unnatural? His pointer finger? But didn't...
I think it might be his head position, because he should just be face down. He shouldn't have been able to turn his head.
Yeah, but I feel like...
Yes! Yes!
It must be here, surely. We're used to when that's the response. Allow me to offer you a piece of advice regarding the pursuit of detection, my dear fellow. When noting a crucial point, it can be helpful to keep your eyes open. They were open. And it can be equally helpful to use them. Sorry, I'll try that. I think it's plain what Mr. Sholmes means by unnatural, isn't it? The word written in foreign language under his fingertips, surely. That particular crass detail was orchestrated by the culprit. No, I mean to identify another point. Yeah. Imagine, if you will, losing your footing yourself. Would you land as the victim has? What of your hands?
Will they be by your side?
You look like the sort of fellow who stumbles with some regularity. This should be an easy task. Why do I? I guess we kinda were talking about it, but didn't really.
Oh, I don't understand what they want.
This is weird. Is this whole case gonna be solved on the ship? Like, no trial?
Maybe there'll be a trial when you get to where you're going. Wait.
What of your hands? I mean, I guess it wouldn't be in a fist on the left, but I still... Let me at least save.
Yes! Yes!
Alright, if he really fell due to an unfortunate accident, then this fist just doesn't seem quite right. The exact same thought occurred to me. In a fall, one's instinct is to open the palms flat. Yet here we see the victim with his left hand tightly balled into a fist, almost, you might say, as though he were gripping something.
Is katana?
What do you mean? Simply that I took the liberty of investigating the victim's fist a short while ago. You did? And what, pray, do you imagine I found there, my dear fellow? Mr. Sholmes, show us, please. Why, of course, my dear madame. Would I keep you in suspense? This is what I found. Oh, a crescent moon with a little gemstone in the middle. Yes, you were right. A crescent moon. It's very pretty. What does it tell us? And it tells us nothing. I'm not so sure. That crescent moon looks... It looks familiar somehow. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere before. Observation, Mr. Naruhodo. That is the key. What? The truth is now tantalizingly close. How did that crescent moon come to be in Kazuma's clenched fist? Hold on a sec. Oh, whoops, wrong thing. This is the final clue, the last piece of the puzzle. Ask yourself, what does this little crescent moon mean? What significance has it? And observe, find the answer with your eyes.
Her earring.
Yeah, and she's missing one. She has such petite ears among the beautiful hair, like little pink shells. Oh, what's that? There's something attached to her ear. Ah, I expect that's what's called an earring. It's a little piece of jewelry. An earring, is it? It's really tiny. Perhaps part of it's missing. Maybe it broke off. So now all that's left is the clasp part that attached to the ear. If that's the case, she doesn't appear to have noticed that it's broken. And then... Yes, that's an earring. Wait, look. That's the crescent moon.
Yes! Yes!
Miss Pavlova, on your ear there, I see you have a crescent moon as well. What? And on your other ear, there seems to be a crescent moon missing. The little link holding it on must have broken, I suppose. Now, the missing crescent moon was found in the victim's clenched fist. Clearly, there was only one logical conclusion. Would you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. Ms. Pavlova must have Mr. Osogi must have grasped that crescent moon and pulled it from your ear. Perhaps just moments before he fell to the floor. In other words, last time in Mr. Osogi's cabin, you witnessed the moment when the victim fell with your own eyes. In fact, you were quite literally at arm's length from him. Then the question is, why did Mr. Osogi do that? Why did he pull your earring from your ear and hold it in his clenched fist during his final moments? Oh no. Angel? No one can protect you now. Please, Miss Pavlova, tell us the truth. Last night, what did you do to Kazuma? When I think about everything that happened yesterday, it was too much. Running away, the fishing boat in the middle of the night, trying to climb onto this huge ship. And then, when I was at last in this cabin, I could relax after this horrible long day. Darka, wait. I couldn't believe it when she disappeared through the ventilator. I tried to call her with a little whistle. I tried waving her favorite toy, but nothing worked. Darka would not come back. What are you doing here this time of night, Inspector? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine. The young man from your country, he was very polite and kind. He helped me to find Darka, and he promised not to tell anyone. But then when I had my friend in my arms again, I was going to leave the man's cabin. Just a moment. Sorry, but... Oh, yes? I'm sure I know your face. I've seen you somewhere before. Ah, of course. Sure, Nikolina Pavlova, aren't you? The Russian ballerina, huh? No, I don't know that name. My heart nearly stopped when he said that. He knew who I was. How could this man from a land in the faraway east know a Russian ballerina? Yes, I saw your performance in Japan. The beauty of the ballet made a deep impression on me. But what are you doing on this ship? I'm sure I read that your ballet company was performing in Shanghai at the moment. I can't fool him. I have to tell him the truth and hope he doesn't tell anyone. I have no other choice. I see. So you've run away. Please keep my secret. Don't tell anyone. Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here. He's going to pull that cord. He's going to tell the captain. What did I think I could trust him? Then it happened. Everything at once. It was only a second, but it felt like forever. Wait, I shouted, and then Darko jumped out of my arms and down to the young man's feet. And as he turned around to look at me, I pushed him. I don't even know why. I don't know why I did it. I was just so scared. And I had to stop him from telling anyone about me. And that's when you went to fetch help? From Seaman Stroganoff, who was on duty out in the passageway. I heard Nina cry out and thud on the floor, so I ran to her. She was standing at the cabin door, shaking like a leaf, and looked at me and said, "Help me, Biff. If they find out, I will be pleased I know where to go." So you decided to help. That's when you arranged things in Cosimo's cabin to make it look like I did it, so that no one would suspect the passenger in the cabin next door. Yes. I went into the cabin and I looked around to make sure there was nothing to show Nina was there. And then I found Stowaway, in wardrobe, still sleeping. Right, that's when he found me. So he worked out a plan. He wasn't trying to get a second opinion by calling the captain. He was trying to get Naruhodo to lay the blame on the Stowaway. I closed wardrobe doors and put back Strange Paper sign. Luckily for me, that's the only reason Susato-san started to believe me when I said I was innocent. I dragged young man's body to good place and used ink that was spilling to write on the floor. I wrote, "Wardrobe," so that person who found him would look inside wardrobe and find Stowaway. And tell me, what did the glass bell? It was by my feet, so I picked it up. I see. But it was dark in the cabin. I didn't notice the other half. Then Angel went back to her cabin and I finished job. By pressing the emergency alarm button in the passageway? Yes. Accordingly, the SS Bureau did indeed come to an emergency halt at a little after 2 a.m., thus enticing the bolt on the cabin door to slide shut, creating the locked room mystery. There's still one thing I don't understand, Miss Pavlova. What? Well, you said that you told Cosimo about the fact that you'd run away from your homeland. And it's because you were worried he was going to tell the captain that you pushed him.
They all know she stowed away. They stopped to get her. Yeah. So what would it matter if he pulled that cord?
Yeah.
They're all in on it.
Yeah, isn't that right? Yes. But even if he had pulled the bell cord and called for the captain of the ship, aren't you friends with every member of the crew? Why would that have been a problem? It was what he said first that made me scared. What he said first? What are you doing here this time of the night, Inspector? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine. He said an inspector was his friend. Ah, yes, meaning me. He was supposed to be acting as his bodyguard. I thought if police knew about me, they would arrest me. So before he could pull the bell cord, May I stop you a moment, please, Miss Pavlova? It just doesn't seem to make sense. I mean, was Mr. Sogi really going to pull the belt cord? I don't know. What? What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, I'm not Kazuma, so I can't know for certain, but he was a man of his word. If he told you he wouldn't give your secret away, then he wouldn't have done. No, he was walking over to it. He was going to pull the cord. He was going to send me back. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, the day's work is not done yet, it seems. There's one more deduction to make. What, another deduction? Yes, what action was the victim really about to take at that moment? Yeah, we already know. Which makes it sadder. Can we determine whither the young man's gaze was directed? Yeah. First, to the victim's location. We already know. We already got this. Yes, spent a lot of time in the wardrobe. That cabin had been my home for this entire voyage. So this is how the cabin looked last night when Miss Pavlova visited Kazuma-sama? Yes, it's exactly how it was. Are you ready then, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, if there's one thing I've learned today, it's that a simple gaze can reveal all manners of truths. And not only that, in order to draw the right conclusion, you can't afford to be out by even a little bit when you're following the gaze to where it lands. So when he turned away, what exactly was Kazuma looking at? He was looking at the wardrobe because the fact of the matter is, he had somebody who wasn't supposed to be there either. So, probably connected with her.
Take that!
Considering everything that happened last night, certainly it may have looked as though Kazuma was going to ring the bell cord. Yes, however, what is directly beside the bell cord? The wardrobe. The wardrobe. And more importantly, what was inside the wardrobe? The man's great friend sleeping soundly. Miss Pavlova, please, think back very carefully. What were Mr. Osogi's exact words last night? Give me a moment, I could use another opinion here. Another opinion. Yes, but not from a member of the crew. No, Mr. Sogi tended to consult his close friend on the matter. To see if between them they might be able to help in some way, no doubt. Oh no. Sadly, we can't know the truth for certain now. It's too late for that. But I wish you had made sure of what Mr. Osogi was looking at. Things may have ended very differently if you had. Miss Pavlova, I want to thank you for finally admitting the truth. But unfortunately, the truth is, a man lost his life because of what you did. And that will never change. I hope you'll never forget that. I'm sorry. Really, I'm so sorry. What have I done? And so at long last, the mystery surrounding the tragic accident of the SS Beria was finally laid to rest. That was actually depressing. What will happen to Miss Pavlova now, then? Once you reach Great Britain, she'll be handed over to the British police at Scotland Yard. What about the fact that she ran away from Russia? Won't the Russians try to repatriate her? Apparently the English detective can speak to the immigration office and sort all that out. Mr. Sholmes can do that. So she won't be going back to Russia, then? No, I don't think so. Even if she wanted to return in the future, I doubt she would be able to. She ran away, so now she's in exile for life. I see. I'm sorry. Simon Stroganoff? I wanted to help our angel no matter what, but I didn't think about you, about how you lost a good friend. I will go with Nina. I will give myself to British police. That's kind of you. In the meantime, thank you for letting me go free again. Kazuma's death feels like such a waste, but... well, do what you can for Miss Pavlova, won't you? I'm afraid you need to pack now. We're due to arrive in Hong Kong tomorrow. As much as it pains me, I'm going to have to hand you over to the council to arrange your passage back to Japan. Yes, I did stow away after all. I couldn't really expect any different. So you should get back to your cabin now. Looks like my study tour to Great Britain is over before it's even begun, then. To think that only days ago, Kazuma and I were laughing together about how we'd tear up the streets of London. That seems like a distant memory now. Oh, what's that? Is it someone weeping? Susato-san? No, Rohoda-san, I didn't know you had returned. Oh, well, I haven't been back long. Inspector Hosonaga just told me I should pack. You know, ready to leave the ship tomorrow and all that. Aww. I still can't believe this has happened. I can't believe someone's life can be over just like that. Susato-san. He had such grand ideas for this visit to Great Britain, so many dreams. Now they've been cruelly taken away, just as he has. I thought I could never forgive the person responsible. But now we know the truth. It was just an accident. Just a silly series of mishaps. It's too much, no, Rohoda-san. It's just too much. Yes, I know. I wish there was something I could say. Inspector, my duty was to see Osogi-san safely to Britain, but I failed, and caused his two closest friends great pain and suffering as a result. I've let everyone down, and I will do anything to make up for my terrible blunder. Nobody blames you, Inspector. And I'm free again now. Huh? Ah ha ha ha! Surprise, Mr. Naruhodo? What is the meaning of this? Oh, a trifling matter. Something that in my head I think I should always picture you wearing those shackles. Without them, the balance seems all wrong. It's distracting. Sorry? So I decided to restore them, for old time's sake, shall we say. You are a stowaway, after all. Ha ha! He thinks this is funny. Mr. Sholmes? We do appreciate all your assistance. I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I honestly thought he was going to be a complete airhead. At first.
Kinda is.
He is, but he was actually, like his deductions were always wrong, but the end of the case, I mean, he kind of was figuring it out there, which is, I don't know. Not at all, not at all. And though it's a little late, I offer my sincere condolences. The loss of your companion is truly heartrending. I hope that you will be able to fulfill some of his aspirations in his honor. I'm afraid that won't be possible. We shall be disembarking at the next port in Hong Kong. We have to return to Japan and make a full report about everything that's happened. What? Wait a minute. It's just me that has to go back, isn't it? I mean, I was the stowaway. The terms of the study tour were negotiated by the Department of Justice in both Great Britain and Japan. It was to be one lawyer and one assistant. Was to be. In the light of Mr. Osogi's unfortunate death, I'm afraid the study tour can no longer go ahead. I don't know, I don't care for me, but... Poor Susato-san. My dear fellows, the majority of problems have an extremely simple solution, you know. All you require is one lawyer, and the study tour can continue, surely. There's no one else with the necessary qualifications, Mr. Sholmes. We know of no other lawyer. Qualifications, you say? Any qualifications obtained in your own country will be of little value in Great Britain, I'm afraid. Oh, but anyway, the voyage to London still promises a good month of time. Ample opportunity, I would say, to find yourselves another suitable lawyer. Yes. Mr. Sato? Yes. Do you think perhaps I might be able to do it? But you're not a lawyer, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, unless... Are you studying law? No, I'm not, but... I'm sorry, in that case I don't think there's even a chance it could work. But as I said, there's still more than a month before we reach England shores. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, I have a month in which to study, to learn what I must to become a lawyer in Great Britain. Mr. Naruhodo, that's ridiculous. Are you seriously suggesting anybody could learn all that in just 40 days? There's only one way to find out. I would work my fingers to the bone, Inspector, every single day. Will you let me try? And if by the time we reach Great Britain I haven't learned enough to be recognized as a lawyer, I'll take whatever punishment is deemed appropriate. But why put yourself in such a difficult position? Kazuma, he said there was something he had to do in Great Britain, and that he would sacrifice anything to make it happen. He was passionate about it. I can't let all that passion just come to nothing. And anyway, it's for my own benefit, too. I will become a lawyer. I have to. What do you say, Miss Susato? I think it's a wonderful idea. Thank you. So, what does our bespectacled inspector friend say? Are you serious? One lawyer and one assistant. The numbers are indisputable. No, it's madness. Yet fascinating, wouldn't you agree? Fascinating? Duty and rules are the dull routine of existence that we all abhor. Give us interest, give us fascination. Speak for yourself. Besides, qualifications are no measure of a man. What matters is his character, no? And you've witnessed ample evidence of this man's exemplary character today with your own eyes. From the early hours of this morning until this very moment now. Despite contending with the passing of his close companion, and despite the accusation of guilt, this man has shown resourcefulness, intelligence, and above all, courage. Very well. I'll think of a clever way to word my report to the Department of Justice. Inspector, after all, I did just make a promise, didn't I? I said that I'd do anything at all to make up for my shortcomings here. Oh, thank you, Inspector. If you'll excuse me, I must pay a visit to the captain's quarters, I think. I need to discuss what to do next, and how best to make my report. Are you really prepared to attempt this, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, I'm going to try. I wonder, would you consider teaching me what I need to know, everything about being a lawyer? I would be delighted to help you. I am a judicial assistant, after all. Thank you. And, Mr. Naruhodo, I'd like you to take charge of this. What? Me? Are you sure? I'm sure it's what Kazuma-sama would have wanted. Its name is Karuma. It's a great sword that's been in the Asogi clan for generations. Very well, I accept. I'll treasure it always. So then, Miss Susato, it seems we'll be working together for some time to come yet. It will be an honor, Mr. Naruhodo. And for the next 40 days, I shan't grant you a single minute of freedom. We shall fill every spare moment with study. Yes, that's exactly what I need. But before we begin, I have an earnest favor to ask of you too. Goodness, what is it? Please throw me to the ground. 3 times. What? I never should have doubted you. You're Kazuma-sama's closest friend. Of course you would never have done anything to hurt him. That should have been obvious to me from the start. But I allowed suspicion to get the better of me. And no matter how upset I was feeling, it was completely unforgivable behavior. No, you were in shock. You just found out about me going, no, I will not let you make excuses for me. What did he say before? The cabin door was locked from the inside. Whatever the circumstances, I should never have thrown you, and not just once, but 5 times. The number keeps creeping up, doesn't it? Please do not. Just take hold of me and throw me. Do it, don't even think about it. No, I don't even know how. I've never thrown anyone in my life. Very wise, Mr. Naruhodo. It isn't a skill one acquires without considerable training. Oh, Mr. Sholmes. I observed your throwing technique several times with great interest. I confess I was most impressed. When did he see that? I presume that would be a form of Japanese wrestling? Oh, well, in a way, it's not wrestling, but my own interpretation of an ancient jutsu technique. Apparently it's called the Susato Takedown. It leaves your head swimming, believe me. How beguiling. I am a practitioner of the combative arts myself. I am a somewhat accomplished boxer. There he goes, dancing around again. I wonder if you'd be so kind as to instruct me on the technique if you are resting throw? Yes, I'd be honored. And let us not dally. Demonstrate, my dear madame. Oh, of course. It's going to be on me, isn't it? Are you ready, Mr. Naruhodo? Sorry? As you can see, you throw from the abdomen. Oh yes, arresting indeed. And that is what you term the Susato Takedown, is it? Actually, no, that was a Susato Squash. In my groggy state of consciousness, a scene from an evening recently spent with Kazuma flickered into my mind. Karuma. That's right, it's a prized sword that's been passed down through generations of the Asogi clan. I can't believe you managed to get permission to bring it with you. I mean, taking a katana on a study tour is more than a little irregular, surely. A Japanese man's sword is his soul, Ryonosuke. It can't be parted from my katana. Karuma guides me, I truly believe that. So its name compels its wielder to slice evil in two? Not that you would need much compelling. On that subject, there's something very important that I have to do in Great Britain, and I'll sacrifice anything to make it happen. I'd appreciate you seeing it through with me. Oh, of course I will. Whatever it is, I'll see it through to the end with you. I knew you wouldn't let me down. That important thing he had to do? I still don't know what that was. But I'm going to see the place for myself and work it out. In Great Britain's capital, London.
Maybe we'll get a Jack the Ripper case.
Oh god, Jack the Ripper? I don't know, this game can get dark, but I don't know if it would get that dark.
I gotta go change out laundry and then we can start the next case.
Okay. Yeah, so I think I see, because it kept saying Victorian era, and I'm like, okay, we're in Japan.
Maybe they'll have, like, John the something.
So I wonder if this is kind of a tutorial in itself, in which the first case was, this is how trial goes, and the second one was, this is how deduction and correcting it goes.
And the next one will do both.
Yeah, probably.
Look at you, have a friend. Oh, yeah.
Alright, so we will start momentarily on the next case. Ooh. That's interesting. The Hound of the Baskervilles is a Sherlock Holmes novel. Huh. Interesting. Oh no, 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 no. Gonna play in order. You just give a sec. She's just doing a errand really quick, and then we play for a bit more, and then we have some plans tonight, which we're really looking forward to.
We can play for like 30 or 40 minutes and then we'll get ready to go.
Yeah, because then at that point I'll need to shower, and then
Yeah, I'm still doing laundry.
that way we can leave at like, what, 7, I guess?
Yeah, they don't live too far, but we do have to go out kind of east.
Okay, so maybe we play till 6:30?
Yeah.
Okay.
6:20, 6:30.
So here's something I noticed because I was browsing around. Because this is just the first game, and then there's this second game in this compilation. I was looking at The Runaway Room, The Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro, The Hound of the Baskervilles. Do you know what that is?
No.
That's an actual Sherlock Holmes novel.
Oh.
The Hound of the Baskervilles. I read that in 7th grade, and had the Moors and this quicksand stuff. So I wonder if Sherlock Holmes is going to take an even bigger role there, but I guess we got to see what role he takes in these next two. All right, now we're going to be with a bunch of English-speaking people. Let's do this.
Glancing over my records of the late last century, I am faced by the events of a certain bitter winter. A murder in a carriage as it sped through dense London fog in the dead of night. Though the victim and the perpetrator were the only ones inside, there were multiple witnesses to the crime itself. However, none could have imagined at the time that such a seemingly obvious case as this would end in such a horrendous manner. My friend, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, once said of the incident,
I believe that perhaps that case was indeed the prelude.
the beginning of a long concerto that impressive Japanese student and I were to play together.
Amazing. Is this really just a railway station?
Railway station or not, I've never seen such an enormous building before.
And look at all the steam locomotives. This country is incredible.
Piccadilly Pavilion.
dreaming.
So this is the capital of Great Britain.
So, where to?
Oh, hello.
Climb aboard. I'll take you wherever you want to go.
In that case, the Supreme Court of Whitehall, if you wouldn't mind.
My pleasure. I suppose you're visiting students from abroad, eh?
Yes.
Thought so. Well then, I hope you enjoy your stay. And welcome to the centre of the world, Great Britain's mighty capital, London.
By the way, I'm actually a little surprised that the last case wasn't more sinister. I'm so used to the murderer being two-faced.
But she's a child.
Yeah, but no, it's not that. It's just like, I was actually surprised the solution was not more sinister.
Oh, I know. Me too.
Alright. What an incredible place. It's so imposing. It's almost suffocating. This place is breathtaking. It looks like a fortress. There are some stone buildings like this in Japan now, of course, but they've only been built in the few short decades since we opened our borders to the outside world. An authentic example like this has quite a different impact, wouldn't you agree? A far cry from the wood and paper most of our buildings are constructed from. It's certainly unfamiliar, but I think there's more to the differences than just construction materials. What is this place again? This is the Lord Chief Justice Office, Naruhodo-san, in the Supreme Court of Great Britain. The Lord Chief Justice? He had instructions to report here at this time if circumstances were different. We were supposed to let the Lord Chief Justice know that we had arrived from Japan. But Kazuma can't. No. So instead, we are here in a different capacity, as envoys to report the news of Kazuma-sama's death. Yes, and having delivered his or her message, an envoy's duty is done. So we'd have to return to Japan. If we want to remain here in Great Britain, I had to take Kazuma's place as the law student selected for the study tour. Yes, which means you need the requisite qualifications as a lawyer, which is what I've been studying for. Here in Great Britain, it is the Lord Chief Justice who appoints lawyers, so that's the second reason why we're here, to have you officially recognized as a lawyer. It's the only way that we'll be able to remain here in London. I hope I'm up to scratch. Good morning. Sorry for keeping you.
What is that?
Oh, I know who this guy is. He's Gant's ancestor.
Maybe.
He's about to start clapping. Oh, I trust you aren't too exhausted after your long voyage from Japan? Seems I'm 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 47 seconds late. My apologies. Oh, no, don't mention it. We're never happier than when we're standing around with nothing much to do. How fortunate. So, introductions. I am Mel Strongheart, Lord Chief Justice of the British Empire. And I feel like a little mouse under an elephant's foot. Come on, Mr. Naruhodo, don't be a mouse. It's an honor to meet you, Lord Chief Justice Strongheart. I'm Ryonosuke Naruhodo from the Empire of Japan. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, welcome to London, the capital of our glorious British Empire. Ah, yes, thank you. Let's see. Let's converse first. London law student.
he's expecting.
Right. Let's do it, law student. Lord Chief Justice, I think you were expecting a student of law for the study tour, weren't you? Absolutely. Mr. Kazuma Asogi, if my memory serves. That's right. The British government has already been telegraphed a full report of the situation. I understand the young man left this light aboard the steamship bound for our shores. That's amazing. The news reached him before we even arrived. My country naturally extends its deepest condolences to yours. Oh, thank you. And you honor this appointment specifically to inform me of the news? Yes. We are here in the capacity of envoys from Japan to report the sad news in person. They tell me you Japanese are a people of protocol and courtesy, and I see that it's true. And it is with some regret that I must inform you that the death of the young lawyer means the study tour arrangement can no longer proceed. If you would just hear us out, Long Strongheart. What do you have to say, madame? It's about the study tour. Mr. Naruhodo here would like to make a proposal. Would he now? Well, Mr. Naruhodo, this is it then. The moment of truth. Huh? The thing is, Lord Justice, Lord Strongheart, I was wondering if perhaps you would consider allowing the study tour to go ahead. Don't misunderstand me, Britain would ideally like to see the tour go ahead. But without a lawyer from your country, there's nothing to be done. Well, in that case, what if there was someone else, another lawyer from Japan, I mean? If there's something, I don't know. Only a single lawyer was invited to Great Britain from your country, and that was Mr. Asogi. At least that is what I've been led to understand. Well, and the thing is, this really isn't going well at all. I just can't seem to find the right words to say to this man. Mr. Naruhodo, I could ruin things here if I'm not careful. What am I going to say? If there is something else here from Japan... Well, it's me. Actually, there's no one would be hilarious to say, but... It's me. I can do it. Is that so? I mean, I don't actually have any qualifications as such, but... No qualifications, you say, and yet you still claim to be a lawyer. I have acted as a lawyer in court before. Only once, as it happens. And I have Kazuma to help me, and I was the accused. But glossing over the details... I've been spending every spare moment in the jury here to Great Britain studying. I've learned all about British law and court proceedings while I was on board the SS Bureau. Voyage to Japan is some 50 days, I believe. Not what you might call a full education. To become a qualified lawyer here in Britain, not only do you need a university degree in law, you must also complete several years of training. I realize it's far too short a period of time, but I can't just go back to Japan. Kazuma, Mr. Asogi's journey had only just begun. Coming here on the study tour was all he thought about. I have to carry on and do everything he planned to do. I know it must sound like I have an overly inflated opinion of myself, but I'll do anything to prove that I have what it takes. Any test you care to set me. Just one chance is all I'm asking for. Please. 31 seconds. Sorry? Your opening statement there, Mr. Naruhodo, it's 31 seconds long. Not too brief, not too protracted, a perfectly just appeal, I would say. Which is a skill that would stand you in good stead as a lawyer. Good stead. Thanks. So, you're willing to put those words to trial, are you? Well, I'm all for entertainment. Huh? Well, let me ask you one thing first, sir. Yes? You say you intend to do everything Mr. Asogi planned to do. Are you firmly set on that path? Well, yes, that's my intention. I see. Am I imagining things? Or did his expression just alter a fraction there all of a sudden? Very well. You have your wish. I'll give you a chance. A test to become a specially certified lawyer. Whether you pass or fail is entirely down to you. Really? Let me ask him about London first. So, what are your impressions of our capital so far? How do you like London? Oh, help! I've been so nervous ever since I got here that I can't remember a single thing about the city. It's simply splendid, isn't it, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh? We had a wonderful view of some of London's streets from the carriage on the way here from the station. Everything is so impressive and grand. I must say I'm almost lost for words. I'm glad to hear you like it. The city boasts tramways, piped water and gas, even cables supplying electricity. We spearhead every revolutionary new technology in the world. Every visitor to London is astounded. Oh yes, astounded is the word. Thanks for saying me there, Susato-san. Everyone seems so jolly and full of vigor. Yes, there's much excitement about the upcoming Great Exhibition we'll be hosting here in London. Great Exhibition? Culture and technological achievements from around the globe are to be exhibited here in our great city. It would be the greatest spectacle of its kind in history, and will make Paris's World Fair look like a toy shop. Gosh, I can hardly imagine how magnificent it's going to be. Great Britain's capital city is nothing but magnificent. London is the center of the modern world. Even if you do say so yourself. The sun will never set in our great empire. Perhaps it is fate that in these progressive times we welcome visitors from the land of the rising sun. So, what form will the test take exactly? Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo, what do you consider the role of a lawyer to be? Well, defending people, of course. Well said, so let's have you defend someone. Huh? I thought that was going to be it. Your timing is perfect, in fact. There's an apt trial about to begin later today. No advocate has been appointed for the defense as yet, so this will be welcome news. Today? Straight away? If you manage to secure a verdict not guilty, you'll have passed my test. What could be simpler? Ugh, how do I get myself into these situations? Well, could I ask, what sort of trial is it, Lord Strongheart? Yes, good question. I remember. It's a murder trial. A murder? An extremely simple case, I understand. You can't really lose. That's easy to say. But I should mention, just in case, if the defendant is found guilty, he will of course be sentenced to capital punishment. Capital punishment? He'll be put to death? Here in Great Britain, murderers are sent to the gallows without exception. Presumably you read that much in your short sea-based introduction to British law? We can't possibly agree to such a test. We would be toying with a man's life. I am the Lord Chief Justice, and I've decided it's acceptable. But you can't do that, can you? There's no need to overcomplicate this. All you have to do is ensure that you don't lose. So the defendant may live or die depending on how well I perform in court. If I lose, he'll be hanged. Mr. Naruhodo, you've come to me claiming to be a lawyer. If you want me to take you seriously, you need to prove you are willing to do a lawyer's job. And you say you intend to see through the will of your compatriot, Mr. Asogi. I would like to understand just how far you're willing to go in order to make that happen. He's testing my resolve. What's the matter? You've fallen silent. I'm sorry, but time is pressing. The trial begins shortly. I need an answer from you now. What's it to be? What do I say? Do I agree to this absurd test? What should we do? Are you thinking about it, or are you wondering why I'm asking you?
I'm thinking about it, because I don't know if this is a test.
Ah.
No?
I don't think it is. We'll just say I'll do it.
Okay.
Alright then, if I have to give you a decision now, I can't do it, I can't get the words out. 15 seconds. Your decision making needs work if you want to be a lawyer, that was too slow. So it's as expected, is it? Sorry? You have noble intentions but lack the resolve to see them through. The test is cancelled, thank you for stopping by. Go and acquire your ticket for passage back to the east tomorrow. This conversation is over. Yes, Lord Strongheart. Thank you for offering me a chance. Mr. Naruhodo, I'm sorry, Miss Susato. What could I do? It's alright, I understand. You do? It's not an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances, but resolve has absolutely nothing to do with it. What are you trying to say, madame? I think what Miss Susato means is that no matter how badly I'd like to be recognized as a lawyer and stay here in Great Britain, to risk another man's life by treating his one and only chance at a trial so trivially would be utterly unforgivable, and I feel this exactly the same way. I'm sure the defendant won't see this trial as a test, as some kind of experiment. A lawyer may fight for his clients in court day after day, but for each one of those clients, the particular day they stand in the dock may be the only chance they have to fight to prove their innocence. No, I was wrong. I'm not qualified to do the job yet. I'm sorry for wasting your precious time, Lord Chief Justice. And that's exactly how I'm gonna get the... yeah. Oh, was there something else? It's approximately 20 minutes by carriage to the Old Bailey from here. If you leave immediately, you should still be in time. But I just said that I was quite serious in what I told you. The defendant in this case has literally no one to advocate for him. What? At this point, he can't hope to find someone to represent him. The trial will begin without a defense. And if that happens, there's only one possible outcome. He will receive the most severe sentence the judge can pass down. But that's awful. But that is the truth. Why does it have to be like this? Please don't expect an answer to every question. The cold hard truth of the matter is that there is only one person now with a chance to save this man from a very miserable end. And that is you. I'm really his only hope? So, what do you say now, madame? Me? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? You said it wasn't an easy decision to choose whether to defend a man in these circumstances, and I agree. And in my estimation, it is purely and simply a matter of resolve. Oh. Our time is up here. I have a meeting to attend. I must leave in 2 minutes and 16 seconds. So, venture into our great city and enjoy yourselves. He's gone. The Old Bailey. If we're going to do this, Mr. Naruhodo, we must leave at once. What to do?
She just told you.
Yeah. Mr. Susato, can I just ask you something?
You're gonna get taken down.
Yeah, am I gonna get taken down? Careful, from this position I can report Mr. Susato taken down in an instant. I know, Mrs. Naruhodo, you heard along Strongheart. The trial starts imminently. If I need to throw you, I will. You know, you could just say I think we need to hurry to the courtroom. You need to ask me anything, and it better wait until we're at the Old Bailey. But what to do? That's what happens when we have Maya. You know, like, oh, what should we do? So, okay, we're getting to normal stuff. What?
They're guards.
Do you like that one has a mustache?
Yes.
Oh, thank goodness, we're in time. There's still 15 minutes until the trial begins. Why don't we take a look at the... Oh, I thought we'd already have at least something here. I never knew a horse-drawn carriage could go so fast. I thought my teeth were going to rattle loose. Did you hear what I said to the driver when we climbed aboard? Get us to our destination in 5 minutes, driver, and there's a guinea in it for you. It's one of my favorite lines from the Herlock Sholmes stories, and it worked quite perfectly. I'm not sure why you're pleased. I thought we were going to die, and we had to pay gold for the privilege. Well, at least we arrived here before the trial started. Yes, I suppose there's that. Anyway, I don't understand it. The court clerk said the defendant should be here, but there's no sign of him at all.
I wonder if it's a him. Could be a her.
Could be. So this is the Old Bailey. Even this room for the defendants to wait in is grand. I'm looking forward to seeing who the heck it is.
Me too.
Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? I'm feeling tense, that's all. This place gives me the same sense of foreboding that I remember from the Supreme Court in Japan. An oppressive air, almost as if the building itself is going to crush whoever is about to be sentenced. Oh, and I think they have juries here, so that aspect of the game should be introduced, I think. It feels like only yesterday that I was the one about to be crushed. Yes, whoever the man you're going to defend is, I imagine he's feeling very alone at this moment. Top of the morning to you, madame, sir.
What? Is it Willy Wonka?
Willy Wonka? What are you doing following me here? Things are very desperate, are they? What you doing? He's the Phoenix Wren imposter.
Tiger?
Yeah. Sorry. Would you look at those expressionless faces? From the east, are you? We're from Japan, yes? Ah, Japan, is it? Right, say no more. So, how much do you need? No, we're just here because... No need to explain, fella. I've been there myself, so have I. So I have. No place to go, none to eat, barely a penny to your name, and all while in a strange, faraway land. Well, actually, we haven't found a place to stay yet, no. 'Tis grand, 'tis grand. Let me start by giving you 1,000 guineas. Say nothing now. Okay, we'll take one. 1,000 guineas? Please, Mr. Satu, you don't have to shout. But 1,000 guineas is enough to build an entire mansion in the most prestigious area of Tokyo. What? 'Tis nothing to me at all. I like to ensure I have sufficient funds to weather a rainy day, you see. I have enough wealth to buy the city of London 2 or 3 times over. Could that much rain even fall in one day? Well, even so, we couldn't possibly accept such a large sum of money. That hit me in the eye. Don't get me wrong, fella. I'm not giving it ya no strings attached. I'll be wanting you to do something for me. Oh? To be honest, it's a little embarrassing. The trial that's about to begin, you see, is for me good self here. I'll be in the dock. So now, what I want you to do is come along with me and stand there beside me. Officially, you'd be my lawyer, but that's just a little detail now. Oh, well, the thing is, don't worry about a ting. All you have to do is stand up there next to me, nothing more. Otherwise, you see, the trial's going to start without me having any kind of representation at all. So it was true. I just want to keep it on this for a second, just because of the Lord Chief Justice wasn't just making it all up. I'm terribly sorry to have to ask, but does that mean you're the defendant in this trial? Blutter and blazes! Do you not know who I am? Me, one of London's biggest names? No, sorry. We've only arrived in the city, you see. I see. I suppose it isn't altogether impossible. Well, just next to Hyde Park, there is in the center of London, is another beautiful park. Sorry, a park? What? 'Tis called McGilded Park, full of blossoming flowers in the spring, and singing birds and whatnot. I donated it to the city, so I did. An entire park in central London? A city of smiles, that's my vision for London. There's nothing Magnus McGilded wouldn't do for the city and its queer old people. That's amazing. I mean, really extraordinary. But now they've the gall to say I'm a good-for-nothing criminal. Me, Magnus McGilded. What is the matter with the London police, I ask ya? Ha ha ha. Alright, don't pass out. Mr. Naruhodo. Perhaps now would be a good time to introduce ourselves while the gentleman catches his breath. Good idea. Ha ha ha. So he's Irish. Mick and all that. Mr. McGilded, the thing is, we're actually here in London to study British law. We're law students on a study tour from Japan, you see. Ha ha ha. So, if you don't have a lawyer for the trial yet, and you'd be happy to put yourselves... What was I after saying, you daft Egypt? I've given you 1,000 guineas to stand up there next to me, haven't I? Well, yes, but I wasn't really offering to just stand up there next to you. Oh, I think I see what's going on here. Sorry? I know what you're thinking. This Chancellor of a feller claims to have more money than the Queen. But if that's true, why the blazes can't he hire the finest lawyer in all of England? Because he did it. That's the only explanation. Well, not at all?
Not at all.
Not at all, although it is a little strange, to be honest. Why you don't have a lawyer, I mean. That would be the fault of the Reaper. You just mentioned the Reaper, didn't you?
No.
Yeah. Remember when you said, like, a London case, aren't we gonna, like, oh my god,
the
what?
Ripper!
Oh, the Ripper, yeah. Oh, boy, I'm sorry.
Well, maybe the Reaper is their version of the
Ripper. Sorry, did he just say Reaper? Aye, the Grim Reaper of the Bailey, Lord Barak von Zeeks. He's the prosecutor.
Okay, so it's not.
The prosecutor is the Grim Reaper? When von Zeeks stands for the prosecution, they call the accused his sacrificial lambs.
It's Von Karma.
Oh, good grief.
Van Zeke?
Van Zeke? Or at least someone who looks like him and starts wagging his finger.
Yeah, or her.
I'm very curious.
Franchi Panchi Whippity Whip.
Pansy Pansy Whippity Whip. And to this day, in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned.
It's Von Karma.
What? Well, this was a long time ago. I don't think it's actually going to be Von Karma.
Well, I mean, relative.
Some kind of. So it's reached the desperate situation where there's no one willing to stand in defense against the fella at all. You could say he's a living legend of the Old Bailey. Goodness, Lord Barak von Zeeks. He must be an exceptionally talented prosecutor, then. Talented isn't the word you're looking for, madame. It's cursed. Cursed? What on earth? The defendant is summoned and his counsel. Please make your way to the courtroom. The trial is about to begin. His counsel? That would be me. Oh, 'tis time. Well then, fella, don't let me down. But I don't know anything about the case. You haven't told me what happened. Until you showed your face here, I'd made up my mind, so I had. Sorry? I decided I'd have to defend myself in there. How would that have worked? But then you made an appearance a student of law, wouldn't you know? 'Tis no accident, I can assure you of that. 'Tis fate. So don't get cold feet now, please.
Are you developing an Irish accent while you talk for him?
I'm doing a half-assed, butchered one right now. I know it sounds terrible. Unless you think otherwise.
It's terrible.
I literally know nothing about the case or about this man who stands accused.
It's like Lucky Charms guy and Willy Wonka had a baby.
This guy?
Yes.
In fact, the only thing I do know is that I can't just turn my back on him. Mr. Naruhodo, the man has no one. He'll have to stand alone in that courtroom, armed with nothing to defend himself. Yes, something that Kazuma would have never allowed to happen. Counsel to the defense, what are you doing? If you're late for the start of the trial, you will lose your right to stand. I'll be right there. Aww. She's sweet. It's happening then. My first trial in a British court. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma, because I have no idea how I'm going to manage this. Oh boy.
Oh, look at that.
Wow. I need to back really fast, and then we will begin. We still have about 15 more minutes left. heard text going. Did it start?
Yes.
Is this the only thing she said?
No. You didn't miss anything. They just saying how.
Okay. It's both imposing, serene, and all that stuff. May I say something, Mr. Naruhodo? Why did it just go by itself? Oh, look at you. Oh, yes, what?
I'm lying.
Why are you lying? Your eyes look ready to pop out of your head again.
Some of that shifty stuff.
Yeah, I know, but I just can't help it. Oh, dear.
It's like Count Dracula.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are here today to determine the guilt or innocence of Mr. Magnus McGilded. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is fully prepared. That must be the Reaper of the Bailey. He really does look fully prepared to dispatch his next poor victim to the underworld. Counsel for the defense, you appear to be Eastern. Do you speak English? Huh? Oh, yes, of course. Sorry. But he asked if the defense was ready, and I couldn't be further from ready if I tried. Those eyes please me. Nipponese. Let me see if there's anything else now. No. I keep forgetting if it's Nippon or Nippon. They shroud your fear, your doubt, your trepidation. They run wild, clinging to some phantom notion of courage. The quintessential look of a sacrificial lamb. Ugh, a cold shiver just ran down my spine all the way to the tips of my toes. Yeah, so when the Chief Justice said this was going to be very easy, you just have to not lose, he neglected to mention that everybody's scared to be opposite that guy.
Yeah, but if you don't know something like that, like, you don't have fear, because he didn't think anybody would fill him in before he showed up.
Right. And honestly, this is probably the actual best decision you can make, because it's like, well, he's going to get the death sentence if I don't go, and he probably will if I do, is what he'd be thinking. So it actually makes the most sense to do this. Now, Mr. McGilded. Yes, my lord. You stand accused of a murder, a capital offense. You could be sent to the gallows if found guilty. Are you quite sure you wish to entrust your defense to this foreigner? How mean. As I've always said, my lord, 'tis a grand thing to give opportunities to the young. Even if the fellow's a student from some little island off in the Far East. Is it not the British way to ignore the dangers to yourself and give those less fortunate a fair chance? I'd like to think that acts of chivalry do the great British Empire proud. Listen to Mr. McGilded. What a fine gentleman London has in him. Did you hear that he donated £5,000 to the government the other day? Mother, please, may we go and play in McGilded Park? It seems as though everyone in the public gallery is firmly behind Mr. McGilded. That's definitely welcome news, and he certainly has a way with words. I'm surprised he couldn't convince anyone to defend him. Eloquently put, Mr. McGilded, and most laudable sentiments. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I'm sure I need hardly remind you that you have 6 members of the public, have been selected for your impartiality. Are you ready to proceed?
I don't like the guy with the knife. It's like, look at me.
I like that he has a knife. You know, it's funny, because she's knitting at the end. That guy second to the right just looks so... In fact, most of them look angry, except for the knife guy and her.
She's reading the book.
No, it looks like she's knitting, though.
No, the other woman's reading the book.
She is?
Looks like something's in front of her.
I think that's just her apron.
Not the girl in green.
Oh, yeah. Well, you should have said the girl in green.
Okay.
So this is the jury. I have no idea how this works. I didn't even read how the heck this works. Yes, my lord, the task is to send rotters to the gallows where they belong. I'm more than ready. At the manor, his lordship always says we should dispose of rubbish promptly. Naturally, I agree. Ha! Any criminals here will soon be wishing they never set eyes on me. Oh, it's a typewriter.
Is she the court reporter?
No.
Is he drinking on the stand?
She's part of the jury. I feel a chill. Oh, don't mind me, my dears. I'll just be getting on with my knitting. Must finish these mitts for my grandson. Ah, Mr. Naruhodo, those people are the jury, yes. That's something we don't have in Japan yet. That's right. I've only ever read about it.
But they all seem like they already have their minds made up about it.
Yes, indeed. The court's final verdict depends on the opinions of these 6 jurors. The judge...
There's an Irishman that one's drinking has like a horseshoe.
The judge passes sentence according to the law, but the jurors determine guilt based on common sense. So the defendant is ultimately judged from 2 completely different points of view. But how exactly do the jurors give their verdict? That I don't know, but I'm sure it'll become clear as the trial progresses. Yes. Prosecutor von Zeeks? My lord. It's been a number of years since we've seen you here in the courtroom. I thought you'd renounced your fame. I'm known as the Reaper of the Bailey, my lord. Infamy rather than fame, I would say. But yes, 5 years have passed since I last spread my wings in this capacity. So what brings you back? Is there some change of circumstance of which the court should be aware? I leave that to your imagination, my lord. So the Reaper has been out of action for 5 years. Why did he have to choose today of all days to make a comeback? It's true. Don't lose heart, Mr. Naruhodo. As you wish, sir. The court nevertheless welcomes your return. Now then, opening statements, I think. A summary of the case, if you please. Certainly, my lord. As your lordship is aware, this is a case of overwhelming simplicity. We must be the only ones in here who aren't aware. The incident took place in the late evening, 3 days past. The hour was some minutes after 10. The victim was a maker of building bricks known in the community as Thrice-Fired Mason. Sorry, Thrice? He was a very accomplished craftsman. The bricks he fired were said to be almost indestructible. The victim's corpse was discovered in an omnibus in service on the streets of London at the time. A dagger had been thrust into the victim's abdomen, or that had been thrust into the victim's abdomen, is believed to be the ultimate cause of death. Here is the autopsy report from the investigating medical officer at Scotland Yard. Thank you, counsel. I shall accept that and the photograph as evidence. A report prepared by the Scotland Yard coroner gives the cause of death as an internal hemorrhaging as a result of a single stab wound to the abdomen. Crime scene photograph. Photograph of the victim taken on the omnibus. The knife in his abdomen is clearly visible, but his face is partially obscured from view by an old crooked hat. One further item of evidence. The prosecution wishes to submit these as well. And these are? Good lord. Is that blood, counsel? Yes, my lord, seized by policemen who arrived at the scene. These gore-soaked gloves were taken from the hands of the accused when he was arrested. What? Mr. McGilden's gloves had blood on them? Yes, I will accept these as evidence as well. How did I get into this? I'm backed into a corner before I've even started. Continuing. According to the driver of the omnibus, there were only 2 passengers traveling inside his vehicle at the time. Only 2? Obviously, one of those passengers was the deceased brickmaker, Mr. Mason. The other was the accused, Magnus McGilded. Well, rather damning circumstances, to say the least. Defendant, what say you? Well, of course, I have no recollection of such a thing. Mr. McGilded, To be sure, I rode the omnibus that evening, but whenever I'm in a carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness and I always succumb to it. Are you claiming to have been asleep? 'Tis the motion of the carriage, my lord, lilting so it is, and when I opened my eyes again, 'twas a desperate sight before me, the body of a man I'd never laid eyes on before in me life. Now I ask yous, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. So the blood got onto the gloves then, after the man had been killed. Unfortunately, that statement of the driver's is only the beginning. What? That's not all of it? There were multiple witnesses to the precise moment at which the brickmaker was fatally stabbed.
How?
Order. When the killing took place, only the victim and the accused were inside the carriage, and there were witnesses to the crime. This is not just a case of compelling evidence. It's the nail in the coffin for the accused. Thank you, counsel. The circumstances of the crime have been made quite clear. I think we will hear testimony from these witnesses first of all. Your wish is my command. Bailiff, bring the witnesses in at once. Witnesses, your names and occupations? My name is, well, everyone calls me Beppo. I drive an omnibus in the East End. Bruce Fairplay. I'm a banker in the city. My name's First. Lady First. I make cash for gents. Let's begin by confirming the facts. 3 days ago, at a short time after 10 o'clock in the evening, all of you present in the stand were in an omnibus and witness to the aforementioned incident. Is that correct? Yes, sir. Quite right. Yes, sir, that's right, sir. Very well, then, let's proceed to your formal testimonies, please. Each of you will tell the court precisely what you saw. I scared. I saw a little bit of this when I made the video for the video game segment we did. So, I saw him and I'm like, oh, I recognize him. It was the last bus of the evening, so I had few customers. I remember it well. The victim and the man accused of killing him were sat next to each other inside the bus. Then out of the blue, the accused just reached over and plunged a knife right into his guts. That's right, he stabbed him. I screamed, I did. Couldn't help it. As soon as I heard the scream, I stopped my bus, and then I saw it too. Unambiguous testimony, I must say. Exactly, my lord. These men witnessed the incident in the omnibus with their own eyes. I'd like to ask a question, if I may. Yes, counsel? Well, this testimony makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. Right. Why not? Well, the incident took place inside a moving carriage, didn't it? As has been clearly stated from the outset, yes. Well, in that case, how could those two witnesses possibly have seen what happened? There's no way they could have seen the inside of a moving carriage. How quaint. I'd read that civilization in the Eastern Island nations was a good century behind our own, but you're here in London yourself. Are you really so ignorant about our omnibuses? Huh? Tell me, my Nipponese friend.
What does that mean?
Well, I think it's a part of Japan.
Oh.
Yeah. And that's why I said I don't know if it's Nippon or Nippon or... Like, I know it's a thing. Maybe for the next time we play, I need to figure it out just so I pronounce it right. Have you ever traveled in an omnibus? Well, no. We only arrived in London this morning. No matter. I've arranged for us all to see for ourselves the actual scene of the crime, that is. What do you mean, the actual scene? How? A carriage is designed to be moved, after all. Presumably you understand that much. Yes. The omnibus in which this bloody crime took place is here today in this very building. Here? What? The entire carriage? Bailiff. Bring forth the stricken omnibus. So that's an omnibus. The omnibus. I can't believe they could bring something so enormous in here. Braben's courtrooms are amazing. As you can see, the omnibus is pulled by 2 horses and can carry up to 8 passengers. 4 passengers seated inside the enclosed cabin, and another 4 on the rooftop deck above. Every Londoner knows that the best views of the city's architecture and sights are to be had from the top of an omnibus. And I should point out to our foreign guests that there is a skylight in the roof allowing a view of the interior from the seats above. Ah, a skylight. Oh. The penny drops at last, I see. These 2 gentlemen were occupying the rooftop seats in this omnibus when the murder took place. This is how they came to witness the grim incident. Through the skylight. Ugh, that makes perfect sense. Well, Consul, this is a first. In all my years behind the bench, I've never experienced the crime scene itself being brought into the courtroom. There are a number of important clues remaining inside the carriage, my lord. I would like to submit the omnibus itself as evidence. That is the prosecution's wish. Very well, I see no reason why not. The omnibus is hereby formally accepted as evidence. I can't believe it. The entire crime scene enters as evidence? Yes, Great Britain is simply extraordinary. I can help myself a lot by giving that omnibus a thorough examination, seeing as it's here. Let us continue with proceedings, then, your cross-examination, counsel. Pray don't expect this Nipponese stray to understand the intricacies of a British court's cross-examination rights. Alright, my first cross-examination in the British court. Focus, Ryunosuke. Focus.
Treetop now.
Yes, and just to be safe, I want to make sure that we have it on this, so when we start next time, we know we should give this a look over, because I'm sure there's a lot of important stuff in it. So yeah, sweet. Okay, so we're getting really into the first regular taste of the game. Awesome. I did see someone watching earlier. Well, until next time, where we shall defend the Willy Wonka lookalike.